Welcome to Sisters in Crime's Murder Monday, where authors talk about their crime craft. My name is Jacq. I'm a compulsive reader, a copywriter, podcaster, and a member of Sisters in Crime Australia, where we've been celebrating women's crime writing since 1991. My guest on this month's Murder Monday is Melbourne author Nicki Greenberg. Nicki, how are you going?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you, Jacq?
I'm good. I'm good. This is both new for both of us. So we'll see how we go. But we got to start with congratulations on winning the Sisters in Crime David Award for Best Children's Novel for The Detective's Guide to Ocean Travel, which is out now with the Fern Press. Well done.
Thank you.
It's very exciting. But this wasn't your first foray into crime. Sorry, it was your first foray into crime and mystery, but what people might not know is Nicki has a very long and much awarded career when it comes to writing. Her first books, the Digit series, were published when she was only 15. She spent 10 years disguised as a lawyer while maintaining a not so secret other life as a comic artist and children's author. In 2008, her innovative graphic adaptation of The Great Gatsby was selected as a White Raven at the Bologna Book Fair. And Nicki then went on to win the 2011 Children's Book Council of Australia Picture Book of the Year. It's a bit of a long title for her amazing 425-page take on Hamlet. And now when Nicki's not crafting awesome stories, she's looking fabulous and crocheting awesome sea creatures. Nicki, to kick this all off, could you please give us the elevator pitch for The Detective's Guide to Ocean Travel for those who haven't read it?
Well, The Detective's Guide to Ocean Travel is the first in a series of the Detective's Guide books. Second one is New York City. Third one, which is out this year, is Paris. And they are historical murder mysteries set in the late 1920s. And ocean travel is set on board one of the great golden age ocean liners, the RMS Aquitania, a real ship. So intensely researched and detailed historical novels. Our protagonist, Pepper Stark, 13 years old, fabulously feisty, solves crimes with three friends who she makes on board, who all come from very different backgrounds to herself.
And of course, it's awesome. Gotta say that too.
Thank you.
As I've read it, and I actually had to wrestle it off my niece to get it back so we could place it here for you.
I hope your niece enjoyed it.
She loved it. She really loved it. She's a bit of an adventurous herself, so it was perfectly placed. But I suppose we should get to this part. We've done a shuffle, and the questions are there's about 20. I don't know if we'll get through them because I'm a bit of a chatterer, you might have noticed. So we'll just jump straight into it, shall we? Are you a plotter or a pantser?
Like probably most people, I'm a bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm an intense plotter. I plot in an enormous amount of detail, and then as I'm writing it, I realise all of the holes that I have to fix and deal with, and I end up pantsing like mad. So I am both a plotter and a pantser.
I don't think I've heard it in that pattern before. I've heard of pantsers who then have to plot to fill the holes, but I've never heard of a plotter who pantsers to fill the holes. That's
I think
fantastic.
the plots of these novels are so fiendishly complicated.
Yeah.
And, you know, I plot and I plot and I think that's it. I have covered everything. And then as I write it, I discover I've made life harder for myself than I thought. And I got a pants.
Okay, next question. Do you check what you've written with kids before submitting the book to the publisher?
No, I don't. I don't. And I mean, these are quite long books. To get feedback from readers would take quite a long time. It's a very lengthy process writing the books at all.
Yeah.
And you know, I trust my editors' point of view and expertise about these things. But I write them for kids, but also for a sophisticated adult reader. So I am checking my own reactions to the text.
And I'm thinking,
you know, I want it to be something that I would find engaging and entertaining.
And thank you for calling me a sophisticated reader because I loved it. All right, next question. What are the challenges in writing for children?
The challenges for writing for children. Well, a real challenge when you have kid detectives, like these ones, is that you want them to get up to all sorts of amazing and exciting adventures, which means you have to get them away from the supervision of their parents and guardians. And it's really tricky. When you think of an adult detective, they can largely go where they please, talk to whom they want, do what they like. It's much, much harder for kids. So I find that the plotting and the getting them into where they can solve their crimes is really tricky. So I think people who write with a child protagonist when they're writing crime have an even tougher job than people writing with an adult protagonist.
I think you might have something there. I hadn't even thought of it that way. Ooh. Do you ever worry about being preachy?
Oh, do I worry about being preachy? I think I have the opposite problem. I am constantly being told by my editor that something I put in there is a little bit too adult, a little bit too naughty, and maybe we're going to have to pull that back for a kid's book. So take out the cocaine, take out the suggestion. I'm not even going to tell you the things I've had to take out. So not really.
Not even just one. One thing that you had to take out.
One thing that I had to take out?
Yeah.
Well,
just between us.
I had to take out the cocaine.
Was that for the ocean liner in New York City or for Paris?
That was Paris, actually.
Wow. So
I also had to take out the reference to the actual sign that was above the Moulin Rouge, which translated as better than nude, in reference to the dancers there. So I had to take that out too.
And I know kids self-censor, but yes, I suppose that's probably best. Saves a lot of awkward questions.
There you go. So I don't think I'm in danger of being preachy.
Who is your favourite crime character?
Oh, my favourite crime character. Gosh, I wish I'd prepared for these questions. I didn't know what the questions might be. Well, I mean, I've always loved Agatha Christie, and I've read more Poirot books than I could count. So I'm going to say Poirot.
Why not Miss Marple?
Oh, Poirot was, to my mind, so much more of an engaging and funny character.
Yeah. And his little grey cells.
The little grey cells. And Peter Ustinov's Poirot in Evil Under the Sun and Death on the Nile is just hilarious.
Lovely. All right, are you ready for the next one? What's the scariest thing in your book?
Oh, the scariest thing. Well, I don't want to give away any of the, the cliffhangers or the highly dangerous situations these kids get themselves into. So I'm not actually going to tell you.
That's perfectly fine. That's not a problem at all.
They get into some pretty hairy situations involving gun-toting gangsters, involving leopards, involving conflagrations, involving poison.
There could be races. There could be more wild animals. They're on a ship too. I mean, that could be pretty scary for a lot of people. But we've got more questions, so we can just move straight on. Who are your writing inspirations?
Oh, I have many writing inspirations. So I love humor. I love putting humor into my books.
Yeah.
And a little bit of wry and sly humor is my favorite. So the book that makes me laugh hardest is Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis. And although that has absolutely nothing to do with the kind of books I'm writing, that kind of humour is one of my inspirations. And I adore J.D. Salinger.
Right, so I'm going to write Lucky Jim down. So that's going straight to my TBR.
Right, fantastic.
Which I'll get to one day. The next question is, how important is place in your writing?
Oh, enormously important. So in The Detective's Guide to Ocean Travel, the location of almost all of the book is on board this ship. And this is a lost world. This was a lost world of very stratified society. It was quite an international world because it was transatlantic travel, and it's something that fascinated me. So I read up enormously. I read the memoirs of the purser of that ship. I read travel guides written in the 1920s specifically about traveling on the great ocean liners, looked at lots of pictures, did a ton of research, and then did it all again for New York City and for Paris. And so the place and the authenticity of that place and how that place moves and sparkles and speaks, enormously important.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, next question. Does your main character ever surprise you?
Oh, so Pepper Stark, does she ever surprise me? That's a really good question. I think, I mean, it involves surprising yourself, and I am surprising myself constantly in writing these books, because you end up in a fiendish and tricky situation. You have to write yourself out of it. So yes, I'm surprised at what I have to pull out.
Okay, what is your top writing tip?
My top writing tip is put your bum down on the seat and write. And it's put in the time. Even if you don't feel like it, it's have a routine. Sitting around waiting for the magical inspiration to strike. It usually strikes if you are sitting there actually putting something onto the page, even if that's something that you're going to throw away later. So yeah, it's bum on seat and write.
That's fantastic. What started you on a life of crime?
Oh, it was all those Agatha Christie's. As a teenager, I would say I read at least 60 of them.
Wow.
And I did write books with crime elements and mystery elements for kids, but it took me until very recently to actually think, well, I'm going to write a mystery detective novel.
So when you read the Agatha Christie, did you read sort of like the Trixie Belden, the Nancy Drew, any of those, or was it just Agatha?
It was pretty much Agatha. So I think I read a couple of Trixie Belden. I didn't read the famous five that I can recall.
No.
I know. But I think probably at around age 11, I started reading Agatha Christie, and I was hooked.
There we go.
And, loved them.
There is something about them, isn't it? It's just delicious.
Yeah.
How do you work out plot twists and red herrings?
Oh, well, I have notebooks full of my plotting and planning and thinking and what-ifing. And so it is really trying things out and seeing what might fit where. There are lots of things that I come up with and then discard. But it's a little bit of trial and error and throwing things into the mix and seeing if they work.
And if it doesn't work for, say, ocean travel, would it work for New York City?
Oh, I can't think of anything that I rejected from one and then it transplanted into the next. But I've filled my head with so much of this that honestly, I've forgotten more than more things than I can count.
Quite all right. Okay, how many drafts do you do before handing it in?
That's hard to say because I'm constantly tinkering with it. So there is one draft, but that has usually come after a very, very detailed plot outline, and the plot outline alone could be 20 to 30,000 words. So what I've done with these books, and this is unusual, it's not what I've done with any other books, is actually shown the plot outline to my editor and workshopped that with them. And often that takes some work. I need to change things in that. Cut out the cocaine. And the armies of nude dancers.
Signs,
And then once we've workshopped that, then I get on to the big first draft. And that draft, once my editor's seen it, they come back to me with a structural edit. I do a big rewrite. Then we go to the copy edit. That's more tweaks and tinkering.
Yeah.
and then the proofread. So it's quite a long process.
Wow. Very, very involved process too for everyone.
Very much so.
And the final question. We've done it. How would you get away with murder?
Oh, how would I get away with murder? I think I'd need a really good accomplice because one of my many nicknames at home is Old Poker Face because I have no poker face. Everyone can tell what I'm thinking. Everyone would know what I'd done.
Yeah.
So I think I need to delegate.
Thank you, Nicki, so much for joining us. We hope the award provides a further boost of sales, of course, for the Detective's Guide to Ocean Travel and the Detective's Guide to New York City. And, of course, best of luck with the Detective's Guide to Paris, which is coming out in July. Murder Monday interviews are available on Sisters in Crime YouTube channel at 6 p.m. once a month on a Monday. Nicki Greenberg has joined us for our Murder Monday. Nicki, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.